So hello everybody, it has been a hot minute since we've done this. Archival work has been pretty brutal, not gonna lie, but I'm now at a point where I feel like I can start making videos again and focusing on stuff, so here we are. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about the current meta changes for this month. Unfortunately, I haven't really been keeping up for changes every single month, so I can't compare this month's changes to January, but we can talk about other things. So with this month's update, we will have 434 cards in EN. The current all cards max HP average is 10,251.7, and the max attack average is 5,335.9. It's basically 336, but you know, whatever. I'm not going to go through every single rarity because some of them aren't changing this month because we're only getting SSRs this month. But for the SSR card averages, HP average is 11,906.8, basically, 907, and the attack average is 6,115. Like I said, I don't have January stats to compare this to, so we're not going to. Instead, let's move on to exams and ranking. So I have a little ranking system for exams, it's just like my personal opinion and stuff. Here's a little pre-made explainer. If you already know how I rank things, feel free to skip ahead. But for people who are new or maybe need a refresher, this is how I rank cards. S-rank cards are mono-element cards who are ready to go right off the bat. A-rank cards have the potential to be mono-element units. B-rank cards have one element advantage over the enemy, but for their other spell, it's either the same spell as the enemy or void. There's no disadvantage. C-rank cards are one of two things. For R and SR cards, they're enemy void, enemy, or void void. There's no disadvantages, but there's no advantage. For SR cards, it's those same spells that I just listed for R and SR, or it's advantage, disadvantage, but the spell 3 is viable and not another disadvantage. D-rank cards have one element disadvantage as a default, and then either the same element as enemies or void, but their spell 3 is viable. F-rank cards have advantage, disadvantage, and you cannot rely on spell 3 to make this work better for exams. X-rank cards are the same as enemy or void, and then a disadvantage. And finally, if you see a dash, that means this card is just not viable at all for that exam and there's nothing you can do to make it a better fit. These are cards that I think should not make the team period. For my exams tier lists, I don't include D through dash ranked cards, but I do talk about card ranking in my card analyses segments, so it's something you should know. So when it comes to my tier list changes, we only have 2, so things are pretty good. So for the floor exams tier list, in the top attack section, Overblot Idia comes into the tier list at number 2. The HP side is the same though. There's also no changes for the fire exams tier list or the water exams tier list. So when it comes to the rarity tier list, when it comes to like who has the best attack and that sort of thing, in the SSR tier list for the top attack section, Overblot Idia comes into the list at number 3. Again, I don't think anyone is super surprised. The HP section doesn't have any changes this month. The SR tier list and the R tier list also don't have any changes. And that's really all I can talk about, because again, I don't really have anything that I can compare to last month and stuff, because I wasn't, paying attention. So, let's go ahead and talk about this month's schedule. In early March, we have SSR Overblot Idia coming. I hope you guys are ready for that. In mid-March, we have a Radiant Reenactment Encore, and then we also have Sebek's birthday. I'm going to admit I'm extremely shocked we're getting a Radiant Reenactment. I was so sure we were going to get Happy Popcorn. And then in late March, we have SSR Overblot Vil. So yeah, we're getting 2 Overblot cards this month. I'm going to talk about it more towards the end of the video because I've got opinions. I've already covered the Twilight Fit cards, so I'll link that, so I'm not going to talk about them in this video. There's another one you can go to. But for those other 3, let's go ahead and talk about them. Overblot Idia is an SSR attack card with a max HP of 8,716 and a max attack of 8,021. Idia's stats are absolutely insane, but I'm sure you all guessed that since he ranks in a couple of tier lists. His HP is super below average, and his attack is way above average. His spells are King's Resentment, Shake Things Up 2, and Shake Things Up 2, which becomes Shake Things Up 3. I'd give him an A for floor exams, D for fire, and F for water when it comes to viability in those exams. Idia's skills include crit chance and debuff removal. On spell 1 at level 1, he starts off with a modest crit chance to caster for 3 turns. At level 5 it's major, and at level 10 it's tremendous. On spell 3 he has nothing on level 1, but at level 5 he gets a debuff removal for allies. It doesn't grow at all. For a duo magic partner he's got Vil, who gives him a minor HP and power boost as a buddy bonus. His other buddies are Malleus and Grim, both with a minor HP boost. To groovy Idia and get him that nice stat boost, You need to hit 2 requirements first, and you'll also need to have some items on hand. He needs to be level 40 and Vignette level 3 before you can groovy him. And once he hits those requirements, then you can use 5 Skull Candy in order to groovy him. For uncapping him and raising his max power level limit, you'll need 0 to 12 SSR Awakening perfumes. Each uncap costs 3 perfume, so if you manage to pull a whole bunch of copies of him, you won't be using that many perfume, but if you only get 1, yeah, you're gonna have to use 12. Friendship levels are another way to raise your card's max levels. It can raise an SSR's max level up 10 levels, so if you uncap a card fully and it's level 100, if you max out friendship levels, that card now has power level ceiling of 110, so very useful. Guest room stuff is honestly pretty hard to calculate when it comes to building and everything, so I can't tell you how many items or visits you'll need in order to raise levels because it's very complicated. I know birthday presents from Idia's birthday event shop are a great way to speedrun some of it, but just know it's gonna take a while without that. In order to max out spells, each one individually needs 351 notepads, 253 textbooks, 111 grimoires, and 380,000 Thalmarks. Spell 1 needs green items, Spell 2 red, and Spell 3 red. The final Thalmark count for that is 945,000 Thalmarks. I would definitely recommend starting off by building Spell 1. I love debuff removal, but a tremendous crit chance? That's insane and going to be an extremely helpful skill to have. And also, it is technically less work than unlocking Spell 3 and then building it. Okay, so this Idia has no dupes and was frankly a challenge to find alts for. I found some options, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I care for any of these all that much. Both of his skills are super rare and there's no Flora Fire units right now in the game, so matching him was a nightmare. And before we get into the alts, I just want to make a quick PSA. Normally, I don't highlight match things that don't match 1-to-1 or close to it, but because Idia's spell names don't indicate what the element is, for this comp section specifically, and for Vil's later, I'm going to be highlighting spells that are the same element, just as a heads up. But yeah, here's some cards that'll sort of work as alternatives to Overblot Idia. Outdoorsman Outfit Jade is attack, has a Flora spell 1, Fire spell 2, and Malleus and Vil as buddies. He's not the worst match, but on the downside, he has none of the same skills and his buddies, although mostly matching, are a bit jumbled up. If you need a unit for a very specific Flora Fire team, this Jade will be able to fill Idia's role at least somewhat. Dorm Idia is another alternative option. He has 2 fire spells and debuff removal. That's honestly kind of it. He has debuff removal, which is really nice, but everything else about him is different. But if you want a partial mono fire unit with debuff removal, Dorm Idia is an option. The first budget option is Lion Garb Kaleem, and honestly he's actually pretty good. He's attack, Flora Fire, and has Vil and Malleus as buddies. While he doesn't share skills, which, I mean he can't because crit chance and debuff removal are SSR only right now, he still hits a lot of the same notes as Idia. And last we have School Uniform Leona. He's attack and Flora Fire. That's honestly kind of it. Yeah, I would definitely say Kaleem is my favorite budget option this time around, but that's not to say Leona is bad. He's a very easy card to get, which Kaleem isn't, and he's a solid pared down version of Idia. This Idia is insane, and I love him. The tremendous crit chance, the debuff removal, the extremely high attack stat, he can be a mono fire unit, and as someone who uses a lot of Malleus and Vil cards, I love that he has them as buddies. This Idia is just awesome. I think he has something for everyone, and yeah, I just really like this card. I'm absolutely going to try and pull for him. Sebek is an SSR balance unit. His max HP is 11,350 and his max attack is 6,349. Sebek's stats are alright. His HP is below the SSR average, but his attack is above. Not massively above, though. It's pretty slight. His spell 1 is Force Strike, his spell 2 is Water Shot 2 and later Aqua Wave 2, and his spell 3 is Fire Shot 2. When it comes to exams, I give this card a D for Flora exams, C for Fire, and B for Water. For skills, he's got Power Drain and Damage Boost, so yeah, not the most special skills. On spell 1 at level 1, he has a tiny Power Drain to Phos for 1 turn, at level 5 it's Minor, and at level 10 it maxes out at Modest. Not gonna lie, this does personally offend me a little bit with the whole starting with tiny, like, okay, sure, I guess. On spell 3, he starts out with a minor damage boost to caster for 1 turn, at level 5 it's for 3 turns, and at level 10 it's a modest damage boost to caster for 3 turns. His duo magic partner is Azul, who gives him a minor HP and power boost. His other buddies are Kate and Apple, who both give him a minor HP boost. In order to groovy Sebek, you'll need to get him to level 40 and Vignette level 3. Grooving costs 5 lightning candy. As for uncapping, he'll need 0 to 12 SSR Awakening perfumes, each uncap costs 3 perfume. Each spell individually needs 351 notepads, 253 textbooks, 111 grimoires, and 318,000 thou marks. Spell 1 needs these in green items, spell 2 needs blue, and spell 3 needs red. In total, that's gonna cost 954,000 thou marks. So if you don't manage to pull this Sebek, what are some good alternatives? First up is Birthday Jacket Rook. They have the same spells, Kate is a buddy, and skills. Downsides are Rook isn't balanced and he doesn't have any other matching buddies with Sebek. Second choice is Birthday Boy Trey. He and Sebek have the same spells and skills, although Trey's are flipped from what Sebek has. He also doesn't share any buddies with Sebek, so that really sucks. Our first budget option is Halloween Ace. He's balanced, Flora Water, and has the same skills as Sebek, but like Trey, he doesn't have any of the buddies that Sebek does. And finally, Masterite Silver is our last alternative and last budget option, and genuinely, I think he's super solid. He's balanced, has damage boost and power drain, has Apple as a buddy. The major downside to the Silver, though, is that although he has a Water and Flora spell, he's Water Flora instead of Flora Water. Honestly, I kinda like Silver the best as an alternative, but that's more because he hits more of the same notes as Sebek than anyone else, although his stats are far lower considering, he's a rare card. I love Sebek, but I can't say I'm exactly, super stoked about this card or whatever. He's okay, but his skills are honestly pretty disappointing to me. I don't mean them being common, although that's part of it, but just tiny power drain to caster on an SSR? Hate it. Absolutely hate it. Really, the one thing I can say is that once you get his spell 3 unlocked, he'll be a little bit more flexible when it comes to teams, but yeah, I don't really have much to say about this Sebek. Vil is an SSR balance unit. His max HP is 11,665 and his max attack is 6,565. Vil's stats, like Sebi's, are fairly close to the SSR averages. His HP is just a little bit below and his attack is above. His spell 1 is Breath Will Still, which is a Flora spell. His spell 2 is Queen's Tenacity 2, a water spell. It can be built into Queen's Tenacity 3. And his spell 3 is Breath Will Still 2 and later Breath Will Still 3 after some building. When it comes to exams, I give this card a D for Flora exams, F for Fire, and A for Water. He can become a mono Flora unit, which is really, really nice. For skills, he's got Curse and Power Boost. On spell 1 at level 1, he has a major curse on foes for 3 turns. At level 5, it's a huge curse for 3 turns. There's nothing past that, so nothing on level 10. On spell 3, he doesn't start off with anything. Not my favorite, but okay. At level 5, it's a minor power boost to caster for 1 turn, and at level 10, it's modest for 3 turns. So Overblot cards unfortunately don't have vignettes. They have furniture, but at least the furniture is good. Although I guess that is subjective. At level 1, you get a statue of Vil, level 2 is a frame, and level 3 is a statue of the Overblot Phantom. His duo magic partner is Jamil, who gives him a minor HP and power boost. His other buddies are Idia with a minor power boost, and Grim, who gives him a minor HP boost. So let's talk about building this Vil. You need 5 crown candies to groovy him, and he'll also need to be level 40 and vignette level 3. If you want to uncap him, you'll need 0 to 12 SSR Awakening perfumes. Each uncap level costs 3 perfume. Spells-wise, you're gonna need way more green items than you will blue since he has 2 Flora spells. So individually, and this is how many blue items you need total, each spell costs 351 notepads, 253 textbooks, 111 grimoires, and 318,000 thou marks. Just double that, and that's how many green items you'll need for maxing out both of the Flora spells. In total, it's gonna cost 954,000 thou marks. For the Overblot cards, it's hard to pick a priority when it comes to spells. You guys know that I love Curse, but a spell hitting 3 times is great. It is a pretty big investment, but I think I'd recommend uncapping and getting that spell 3. Being able to hit 3 times without duo magic is really nice, but if paired with spell 2 and you do have duo magic, you can hit 6 times in battle. That's going to be extremely nice. Although this Vil is kind of a special card, there are a few pretty good alternatives to him in case he doesn't come home. First choice is Birthday Jacket Cater. This Cater and Vil are super similar. The only differences are Cater has a Void Spell 3, doesn't have Idia and Grim as buddies, and doesn't have Curse, although he does have 3 other pretty good skills. Overall, super solid. Next SSR alternative is Ivory Cliff Ruggy. So Ruggy has a Flora Spell 1, a Water Spell 2, Idia as a buddy, and Curse. And for what it's worth, his spell 3 is also Flora, but it'll only hit 2 times versus Vil's 3 times. Cater hits a lot of the same notes as Vil, and while Ruggy hits less notes, He has Curse, which I think is a pretty big advantage over Cater. I've talked about it before, but Power Boost is common. Finding another unit with that is pretty easy. Finding another unit with Curse, though, that's much harder, and I think that plus the elements matching is this Ruggy's biggest advantages. Our first budget option is Tropical Wear Riddle, and he's a super solid budget option. He's Flora Water, has Curse, and has Power Boost. Not to mention, his and Vil's attack stat are actually insanely close. Riddle's is higher, but only by 30 points, so a very good budget version of Overblot Vil. His biggest downside is that he doesn't share any buddies with Vil, which does really suck, but when comparing that to everything else, Riddle's still extremely good. And finally, we have Soomsitter Deuce. Admittedly, I do think Riddle is my favorite of the budget options, but this Deuce is good, and he was an event freebie, so he's pretty easy to get. Deuce's strengths are being Flora Water and having Curse. His other skill is completely different from Vil's, and his buddy isn't shared, but for an event freebie and all the other stuff, he's a pretty dang good budget alt for Vil. I don't think anyone would be surprised to hear that I like this Vil. I love Vil anyways, but he's got some great things to offer. He can become a mono Flora unit, he has the potential to hit 6 times, he has Curse. My only complaints about him are his stats are just okay. Most balanced cards kind of fall into that anyway, so I can't really blame him, but I would have liked a little more in that regard, and maybe an additional skill. But overall, this Vil is a solid card in my opinion. So I can't say that them doing 2 Overblot cards in 1 month is my favorite thing. It makes me worried, it makes me irritated. While on one hand, I'm glad that Cater fans have like a little bit of a reprieve and they can recuperate from his birthday, I'm kind of surprised that we're not getting Happy Popcorn yet. Maybe they're waiting a couple more months for that. I am very shocked that we're getting a Radiant reenactment so soon, since I feel like we just had it in the end. I know that it was, a while ago, but it feels like we just had it. The 2 Overblots in 1 month is very worrying. I live reacted to this on stream, and I did make the joke of like, oh, we're just living the life of an NRC student. They have multiple Overblots a month, we're just living that. Which, I mean, on one hand, haha, but on the other hand, like, this is a really bad look on so many levels. It makes me wonder why they're doing that, and it makes me worried. I'm gonna be fully honest about that. Like, this makes me worried. And also, it frustrates me. It really, truly does frustrate me. I think this is a very strange move, frankly. I mean, you guys know that I have multiple feelings about this. But anyways, that is this month's card roundup and meta update. We're back with card analyses, and I'm getting back into that. I have my spreadsheet fully updated right now. I'm still tweaking a couple of things when it comes to making the graphics in there, but mostly everything is coded and done, so yippee. But before we go, I'd like to thank my ladyfingers in waiting who support me and allow me to continue to do this. A big thank you and telepathic snacky treat to Michikow2189, Omimi, Visa, Annette, Orion, Dorcas, Yungumo, Crabjail, Lady Lunarine, Richter32, Vara Foe, Yozabek Kiseki, and Ukaku. Thank you guys, and I'm Kiryu. If you'd like to become a ladyfinger in waiting yourself, I have channel memberships on YouTube. If Twitch is more of your vibe, I have subs over there. Either way, you get thank yous at the end, and then also early access to my videos. If you made it this far, thank you too. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, or whatever you're having. Please do not try to crash out too hard about the Overblots. I mean, now we'll have 3 Overblots on our hands. Let's just try and keep a positive attitude because there's really nothing else we can do, and that just sounds more depressing than if I said, you know what, I think I should just stop talking. I should just stop talking. But yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye bye!